Hey everyone, so if you've been looking for a video that's going to show you how to build cabinets, this is going to be the video for you. So in this video, I'm going to just walk you through step by step my typical process for building cabinet boxes. I'm going to try to make it as easy as possible. So once you've got your design laid out and you know the sizes of your boxes, then you're going to go ahead and cut your main pieces, which is what I've been doing here. So most of your typical uppers are going to be about 12 inches deep, and most of your lowers are about 24 inches deep. But when dealing with custom cabinets, you know, some are going to vary in size, and you can go as big or as small as you want. So first couple of clips, I cut most of the pieces for the boxes. Right here, I'm cutting the back piece for the boxes. I've built cabinet boxes several different ways. This is my preferred method currently. Right now I'm using a maple B2 grade veneer core 3/4 inch plywood for the boxes. And then for the backing, I use a A2 MDF core plywood. That being said, this is not the material that you have to use. This is just what I've had the best luck with. The only thing I would say is do not cheap out on materials. This is definitely one of those areas that you get what you pay for. So here's a quick look at all the pieces I cut. So we're pretty much ready to go and start putting these together. But before we start putting them together, we're gonna rip our pieces with our dado stack for our back panels. And I typically rip these about 1/4 inch to maybe 3/8 deep inside the plywood for those back panels to slide into, which you'll see here in a bit. Now, there's a lot of ways to put these boxes together, and depending on the application, that might determine your process. My favorite is typically to use glue and trim nails, and then a variation of pocket holes depending on what I'm doing. So for this box, I just glued the bottom and used some trim nails, and right now I'm actually putting on the supports, tacking them in with trim nails, and then I'm going to use pocket holes to secure them. All right, so now we're going to take our back panel and we're going to slide it into those slots that we ripped with the dado stack. Here again, I'm just tacking the support pieces in there, and then I'm going to come back with some pocket hole screws right here and secure them. And as I mentioned before, depending on your application, that might determine how you go about doing this. If the sides are going to show and you're doing like a stain or even a light colored stain, you're not going to probably want to use trim nails because they might show, but in this instance, both sides are going to be covered by a wall, or if you're painting it, it's not going to be an issue. This is a good look at my pocket hole jig that I use, and right here I'm just getting the toe kick ready. I tack it in with some trim nails just like I did these other support pieces, and then I come back with the screws and tighten that up. So the last box you saw me just put together was a lower box. This one is going to be an upper. The build process is very similar. Really, the only difference is with an upper box, you have a bottom and a top piece, whereas on a lower box, you've only got the base because it's going to have a countertop or something like that on it. This particular box is actually pretty big, so it is going to have a double upper box. So that's just where we have smaller cabinet doors at the top and bigger cabinet doors towards the bottom. Now remember, your back panels are only 1/4 inch, so that's not something thick enough to screw into. So that's why we're adding these support pieces right here. So when you go to anchor to the wall, you've got something solid to screw into. All right, so now that most of the boxes are built, we're gonna start working on the face frames. So face frames can vary a little bit, but typically I'll use poplar or soft maple because they both paint really well. And again, we're using the pocket hole jig because that's how we're gonna put most of the face frames together. So the material here we're using is poplar. It's 3/4 inch thick, so we're going to use a 1 1/4 inch long coarse thread screws. Coarse thread is going to be best suitable for your softer materials, and then if you're using a harder material like oak, you're going to want to use a fine thread screw. The clamps you see in this video are specially made for doing this right here. It's going to keep those pieces nice and tight and flush together while you're putting those screws in so they don't move around on you. Once you have your face frames put together, we're going to put a little bit of glue on the cabinet boxes, and then we're going to go ahead and lay these down. Right here, I'm obviously trim nailing these in, but if you are to stain these or something like that, like we talked about earlier, where you don't want to see those trim nails, I would just either clamp those down or use something like biscuits or something like that to attach the face frames. So here's a final look at all the cabinet boxes we got put together. Next video we're going to do will be of the cabinet doors and the drawers. If there was anything unclear about this video, shoot me a question. I'd love to help y'all out, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.